when someone gets robbed who only has worked like an hourly job, you literally just took life away from them. Because think about it. It took 40 hours of their life dedicated to be able to buy this thing. You took that away from them. They paid with that, with their life. Wherever you are right now in life, you can get started right now, today. You can buy back that time. What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Today for Tomorrow time episode. Look, if you haven't already subscribed, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Rodney just got me hip to a movie that apparently is old.
It's an old movie.
It's an old movie. I just never saw it. In Time?
In Time, yeah. I break it down. So it's a movie with Justin Timberlake in it. And I thought it was just an interesting movie. I didn't see it at the show. So it was a world where people actually had a clock that would count down. Like you had so many hours to live.
Okay.
But you could go to work and get a job and you could accumulate more hours so you can live longer. So your job was about getting paid and more time added to your life. Literally, more hours added to your life. And so you had people who were very rich in time where they would actually have time vaults where they had this time stored up where they can just download it. And what made them rich is that they could sell their time and so forth. And they owned the factories. So the poor people didn't have a lot of time. They had to get on the bus. Everything you did, you paid with time. Riding the bus might cost you 5 minutes. You know, getting food might cost you X amount of minutes. Needless to say, you had a lot of skinny people, but I'm just joking. But I thought the movie was interesting in the respect, and it made me think about the fact, when we talk about in time, man, you know, time is valuable. I mean, the movie just made you realize, in a kind of metaphorical way, how valuable time really is.
You know, with most movies, stories, it's essentially it comes from, the idea for a movie typically comes from like some sort of a question. And it's like, for example, this one would be like, you know, what if time actually was money? All right, let's build a story around it. And then, you know, there's, you know, the movie Inside Out, if you guys didn't see it, it's very underrated. You know, what if in my head, the emotions had their own personality, you know, and you make a story around that. But like, the interesting thing about this one is because I think, one, there's some people who really do believe that time is money. Time is money, time is money, time is money. I gotta get to work, gotta get to work. But the reality is, life is infinitely more valuable than money. And so there's really, it could help you to take advantage of the time better, but at the same time, life is dramatically more important. Because I mean, the reality is, if somebody asks you like, okay, cool, so I'll give you $1 million, but you'll have to die in the next minute, or I don't give you anything and you have to take minimum wage for the rest of your life. Which one are you taking?
In some ways, people do play with their life as far as time go and money. Because there's certain industries and jobs that expose you to chemicals that might pay real well, but you know down the road there's a good chance you might wind up with cancer.
They're letting you know, hey, look, this is going to shorten your life.
Oh, yeah, no doubt. And I know my first job out of school, I worked at a nuclear power plant for a while. So,
oh, wow.
And they had what you call outages. So, and what that means is that every 18 months they had to shut the plant down and go through and fix all the issues that popped up. And during the outage, they're fixing issues, but they're also identifying new issues that they got to fix at the next outage, right? So it takes a lead time to get a lot of that stuff, like years to get the parts. Well, that they had divers who can only be in there for a certain time, because you had like meters that would measure how much radiation, how much dose you were getting anytime you walked in the plant. So they had these divers. They were almost like sponges. They only could go down because they had to address issues and so forth. But they couldn't be in that water long because of the exposure. but they got paid crazy money.
Mm.
And you're only supposed to get so much radiation dose in a year, you know, by some old rules. I say all to say that these individuals had to know that there's a good likelihood they might not live the typical life, but the money was such where I'm okay to take some time off my life for this amount of money. And that's what, when you said that, it made me think about. Some people are willing to give up time or life, years of life for money.
Yeah, I mean, literally there are hourly jobs. That's quite literally trading time for money.
Yeah.
That's all it is. It's like, you know, if you work for X amount of hours in the day, I'm gonna pay you this amount every single hour that you work.
Yeah.
You are literally, and that's why it's so, you know, people talk about, well, like, when you rob somebody when someone gets robbed who only has worked like an hourly job, you literally just took life away from them. Because think about it. It took 40 hours for them to be able to buy this thing. 40 hours. It didn't take, you know, this amount of this work, this thing that they did. No. It took 40 hours of their life dedicated to be able to buy this thing. You took that away from them. Now that time has been swiped away from them.
Wow.
Like they paid with that, with their life.
You know what? I've never thought about it from that perspective, but you're absolutely right. It's like they invested X amount of hours, which paid them X amount of money to get whatever that was. Now it's been taken from them. So now that time and money, well, that time that was spent on that, you can't get it back. Now you got to work more time to potentially replace it.
More life is going.
Yeah, to replace it. Wow.
So it's like, you know, when you talk about buying something, it's like you gotta literally, if I've got an hourly job, and I know that I've worked for this amount of time in my life, and I'm trading my time. Even if you talk about saving up, I'm working all these hours, essentially spending it, so that I could afford to do this thing. So I've literally bought this item with my life.
Yeah. That's
trading time for money.
And the thing about it too, Martell, we use an hourly concept, but that's not knocking hourly. I mean, salary, it's the same principle, but a little different. And sometimes in salary, you're getting paid X amount, you know, based on how many hours in a year. You get paid X amount each week, a month, or whatever the case may be, and you might put 8 hours in one day, 10 hours the next, and you're just getting paid the same. There's no rate. In some kind of places you can't get paid less because you're putting more hours in. So you're still paying for something with your time.
And so I think like the movie concept is really interesting, but it's pretty realistic too.
Yeah, it's lined up. But you know, one thing about the movie that was, if you watch it and if some of you saw it, you know, you had Justin Timberlake character who actually somehow or another he got tapped in and got more time than he
earned.
Didn't he earn or whatever? So he had extra time. So now he became rich in time. So he was able to buy stuff, and you had time police that when your time was up, they would come and, you know, pretty much if you did something unscrupulous, they would come handle you.
And take some of that time away.
Yeah, well, yeah, seriously.
We call that prison. Or getting shot.
But you know, when you think about the concept, though, when I say we, I'm talking about collectively, people really underrate how little time we have and how it's tied to life. You know, I just remember I had a class, this guy, he said the average person lives to be 75 years old or whatever, and what he did, he made a calendar. Well, he actually counted up the hours that took, and he would mark off how much time he had left based on that formula. And it made him start to look at life differently and how you use your time. So let's talk about that piece. You know, you're pretty good about time, you know, I know time is valuable, but how would that make an average person think if they could see they only had X amount of time left?
if we just swap every time you're thinking about saying the word time, if you just say life instead, I think you'll just automatically start to shift the way you think about it. Because it's like, you know, if I'm going to spend 5 hours of my time to go do this thing, that means that 5 hours of my life is dedicated to this particular thing, which means I can't get it back. There's no exchange where I can get more of it. There's no recovery of it. It is just being used, and it's going to be gone after it's done. Yeah. And so it's like when you talk about wasting time, you are literally wasting your life. And it's like, if you know that going to that place, doing that particular thing, or spending too much of your life on this particular thing is just a waste of it, and you think about it in terms of my life is literally leaving, it's literally going out the window, and there's nothing valuable happening with it, it's different. Yeah. So the idea of literally marking off, yep, this much, that much. I saw one time, one guy, he had like a string, and he was like, all right, think of this string as your life. And now he was like, let's say you're around 40 right now. And then he cut half of it, or he cut cut half of it. And he's like, all right, this is how much you got left.
Yeah, no, it creates some urgency.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah, what you doing?
I think that's one of the things I think while we're talking about this now, is that there needs to be some urgency in life, in business, and everything you do. It's like you only got windows that are we talked about this a little bit earlier, that are so open so long, right, for you to take advantage of them. So there's not a lot of time to kind of take advantage of these windows in life. Like my younger years, which would be the years you're in now, but like when I was in my 20s, I had a time to do certain things. You know, from a physical standpoint, I was in different shape. From a foundational standpoint, to kind of financially get some things in order. And once the 20s are gone, and you probably feel it more on the physical side, where still do things in the 30s, but I was not the same person athletically. You know what I mean? So if I'm going to do anything super serious in certain sports, I needed to do it in my prime for that. And 30s, 40s. So it's like almost with your time, you got to understand, how do you optimize it? What are you best suited for in different times in your life? Like, what are you best suited for in your 20s? Yeah, I can get less sleep. I can work longer hours. I didn't need as much rest, And then as I got older, it's like, oh, wait a minute, I can't. I need more sleep. I need more rest. It don't feel the same. Yeah, but it's like, okay, but what am I better suited for? But now I know I've been exposed to more things. I got more experience in other areas. So, okay, I'm better suited to do these things over here. And it makes me think, even now, being in my 50s, like, okay, I'm cut for this right now. I got time. I got a window. I need to make this happen now. So it's important to create that urgency and know where you are in that timeline of life.
You have to be. I strongly believe that you need to be intentional from the get-go. Like, it's as much as you can. As soon as you become aware, I think you really should just start making it happen when you can, because every season, every stage is an opportunity, and there is a very unique opportunity in that particular season. To the point that you just made, it's like you ain't gonna be in your 20s a second time.
No,
you ain't going back to it.
No. Like, I don't care how hard you try.
Right. And so, and then the way that kind of life is set up, essentially, if you do decide, because a lot in the beginning, you will have to trade that time. Because you don't have the knowledge, you don't have the network, you don't have the skill set. There hasn't been enough other things that buy back your time. You haven't built it up yet. No. So you do need to put that energy and effort, and it's set up literally for you to have the most of it right now, so that you can go ahead and get the things, earn the things, build up the things, so that later on you can do more with less.
So that doing more with less gives you more time.
There you go. I mean, we talk about, we spoke about trading time for money, and how it quite literally, you could be buying a new car with, how many ever hours, 120 hours of work, whatever it was. It's like you literally doing that trade, but it's like we talk about, the Ephesians talks about buying back your time because the days are evil.
Mm-hmm.
Essentially, what he's saying is like when you start to build up wisdom, when you start to kind of store up for yourself, you begin to you can purchase things, you can do certain actions that allows you again to do more with less. So we call these high leverage activities. We're talking about in business. I want to hire someone. I'm built, like say I built a foundation. This is why some people never kind of reach a certain level in business because they believe that they have to do everything. If they don't touch it, it's not going to get done right. Yeah. And therefore, I'm just going to be here. But you have these dreams of doing all these amazing, fancy things, but you are the bottleneck. You've put your own ceiling over it. Because it's you. Yeah. You only have so much time, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And here's the thing, you're going to be sleeping for 6, 7 of them, maybe more.
Easily, yeah.
Right. Yeah. You're going to have to eat, you're going to have to use the bathroom, somebody going to call you, all this other stuff is going to happen. So you really don't have a true 24/7.
No.
So what I'm doing when I'm putting this time, putting this energy in, is I'm doing it to build up things that get me back my time. So when I build a process, when I build a system, that's what my focus is on, because I know that I can put somebody in place. Now I don't have to spend my own time to do that same thing anymore. Yes. I've essentially, when I hired that person, I bought back my time.
You redeemed the time.
I redeemed the time. Now I can go spend it on something else. I can go build it over here. Now I don't have to spend my time over here anymore because I built that, put somebody in place.
So, and I think the concept you share is one that, and this is something when we talk about life, business, all of it applies, right? It's all, and you're talking from a business standpoint as well, when you kind of work, put the time in, you build the processes, you get it to the point where you grow it and other people, other mechanisms can do what you used to do. Now you don't have to do it. So now instead of 8 hours your day being dedicated to this thing, now you only need to dedicate 4 because it's still 8 hours worth of work getting done, but now you only need to dedicate 4 to it because you put things in place where those other 4 hours that need to be done is done a different way or by someone else.
And here's the thing, everybody talks about, financial freedom, I want to make money in my sleep. And it's like, there's a lot of work that has to be done to do that. You have to build up assets. Like, okay, let's have a financial conversation 101 here real quick. Like the reality, it's a thing where, because it's not just building a business. That's an asset type, but that's not the only one, right? People do real estate, people do stocks, trading, people do all kinds of different things. But essentially, fundamentally, what it is, it's like, okay, what is this? You're building an asset, you're building or buying an asset. You can buy, businesses, you can buy things that can do, like real estate is buying it. But you're building some sort of an asset that allows you to then generate an income or generate more financially for you without you actually doing more to do it. Perfect example is like, well, I guess an easy way to think of it is like when you have every month, there's a certain amount of money that you spend. So whether that be on your home, the food, vehicle, going out, whatever it might be. Look at all your finances for a month. Cool. Once you are able to get paid the exact same amount of those expenses with assets, meaning that your real estate property rentals, maybe your business, maybe your side thing, whatever it might be. Once that is able to actually replace how much you spend in a month, now you have become financially free. Because now you don't have to spend any of your time, energy, effort to actually produce what you use to live on. Now you're in a situation where, you don't have to go, maybe you might have the 4-hour work week, whatever. This is where you just manage everything to make sure it's still working the way that it should, but essentially you don't have to go to work anymore. It's a different situation.
And even in that situation, now to your point, you freed up time to do something else. And you can literally waste that time you freed up too. It really still comes down to how you, and no matter the age too, that's the thing I think people need to take note of, is that people who you might be limited, but what are you doing with your time? That's really the question that movie made me really think about, is like, what am I doing with my time? How am I utilizing my time? And I tend to get mad at myself when I know I'm like, I wasted time.
Mm.
You know, and that's, well, I don't, you know this already, but, you know, like I stopped watching TV during the week. You know, it started out as a fast, and then it's like, why should I go back?
That's a good question.
Yeah, I'm like, why should I go back? So, but it allowed me to have more. I didn't realize how much time I was wasting doing it. Now I got to make sure I'm utilizing the time I do have to stay focused on some of the things I need to do too. But if I introduce TV back into it, now I'm going to be consumed. I'm going to lose that time to nothing in my mind.
What people often do when they either save time or save money is, and you can see this in life, when you have a little bit more, when you have more time, because it's like, all right, I'm not doing that thing, people end up replacing it with something just as useless.
Yeah.
They're like, okay, now since I've got so much more time, let me scroll through Instagram for longer or whatever. Exactly. And then same thing with money. It's like, okay, now that I'm making more, let me buy a more expensive car.
Yes.
And so you pretty much just, you go back to ground zero again.
You really haven't progressed. You just replace one thing with another.
You just replace one thing with another. And so the key though is like, okay, once I am able to build up my asset column to the point where it replaces my expenses, cool, I have more time. Now, at that particular point, go on full month vacations if you want to. You earned it at this point. Now, but if you want to get to the point where now you want to live above what you were able to previously, you're gonna have to do a little bit more on the asset side. So you got to build up a few more things, and then you become being able to cover the expenses is financially independent. Being able to live above that is financially free. Then you can get to the point where you can be financially free when you got your assets that's paying for the life that you were living before and some. Now, if you just decide to go live a life way more than what you have budgeted, way more than what you can afford, you put yourself back in a situation, because this is what people do. All right, cool, I'm making some more money, I've got more time, I'm gonna go get this bigger house. And then you end up not having enough much money anymore. Now you have to go get this job, and now you're back in the trading game. You put you're right back in the cycle.
You're right. Time is one of those things that I think if anybody, you ask anyone, no one will sit back and tell you they have truly mastered time management. We get good at it, or better at it, but it's one of those things, if you lose sight or you like relax, it's easy to I won't say waste time, but not maximize the time you have. Because, and this is the other piece too, I think people got to understand. Taking vacation, taking off to recharge is time well spent when it's not done in excess. It's almost like the day of rest we talk about. The day of rest is very important. That is time well used. And I think sometimes when you don't have, well, I know it for a fact, I haven't been very good at doing a day of rest, but when I do, it does recharge your battery and allows you to be more efficient with your time. I think sometimes people get overzealous the other way, like, I can't take no time off.
The workaholic is a short-term strategy. And the reason I say that is because, again, like, the key here isn't just, doing something all the time, because that's just being busy. It's about being intentional. Because if I decide that I'm going to work for 6 days and then I'm going to rest on the 7th, you've planned that out. And it's a more long-term strategy, because you know that if you just never stop, never really sleep, never really do anything else, you are going to be overextending yourself in a way that you know that there's going to be a certain amount of time where you're going to hit a wall. You're just gonna straight up hit that wall. You're gonna withdraw from reality because you're gonna be so tired of doing things. You're not gonna want to even pick up whatever the work is that you've been doing. You're gonna hate the thing that you might even had a passion for because you're burnt out with it. That's what literal burnout is.
No, it is. What's some of the takeaways though that we can share with folks to kind of help them better manage or better use the time that's allotted?
I think the key is intentionality, man. It's like when you have set out for yourself a plan for what you're gonna do with the life that will be spent over the next 24 hours, then you can, just like finances, you can then look back on where your investments were. Okay. If I know that over these past few months I've been focused and intentional about doing this particular thing, you can look back and you can see the returns that have come from that particular thing. If you were never intentional, if you had no plan for it, and if it was just kind of whatever I'm told to do today or whatever I feel like doing today, then again, just like financially, it's just going to be out in the wind. And you might, if you're not tracking it, you have no idea where the time went. No. How many times do you get, like, you know, you hear people like get to the end of the month and you got paid on time. The company paid you, but you have no idea where the money went.
Yeah. No, you're right. It's, as you said, it's kind of like counting your calories. Like people eat and they like, man, how did I gain all this weight?
What happened?
But when you start to count your calories, you start to realize that,
oh dang,
oh man, wait a minute, that got what in it?
How many cookies did I eat?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think counting your time that way is important.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I would say to the person out there who's trying to figure out that whole the asset income or the asset expense type of situation, I'd highly recommend, like, you don't have, it doesn't mean become an entrepreneur today, just become to be financially independent. Many different ways to do it. But I would say really to start to think about, okay, where can you get a return that you don't have to spend so much time for? Because maybe it takes time up front to build it or to save up to buy it, whatever the case might be. But once you've, that time, that's a pretty solid investment of it, because it buys you back the time that's going to be spent in the future. And if you never actually do anything to build that up, then you know that you're going to have to spend that same time the same way you spend today, doing the same things over and over again, 40 hours a week, every single week, until the day you retire. And then hopefully the government is going to give you a check because maybe you've spent some time doing some things. But you don't have to wait that long. No. You could just build those assets up right now because the opportunity is available. Yeah. And then you can go ahead and get yourself a retirement.
No, that's another. If I could talk to Rodney back before my pre-20s, I would have been investing back then, because 5 years earlier, 10 years earlier, starting the process, talking about time again, makes the world of difference on the back end. Yeah. Literally.
For the young people out there who's listening.
Yes, yes, it does. We need to talk about that financial investment thing as it relates to all things. Yeah. That's another topic. Let's close this one out, and we'll put that one on the docket. We're gonna get Mike back in the saddle here hopefully soon. When his schedule, I don't know if his schedule ever gonna die down, but we know he's chomping at the bit to make time to get back.
Shout out
studio.
Jackson. Yeah. Shout out Jackson over at Junior Olympics. He just competed in the Junior Olympics, y'all.
Yes.
Definitely send some love his way.
Yes, definitely. Yeah. Mike, they got some athletic kids. So great parents. And Jackson, hey, way to go, fella.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, no, and again, this isn't for just the younger people. This is for the older people. This is for wherever you are right now in life. It's not too late. It's not too early, really. You can get started right now today, because you can buy back that time. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Today for Tomorrow podcast. Currently right now, I know this looks a little bit different, but we are right now in the Freedom Center. This is the same place. It's the same place. This is where Freedom in Christ Ministry meets for the Sunday services. And so look, I know it looks different, but I'm telling you, the Spirit is all through this place still. Every Sunday, there's a message told by either this guy or somebody that they have been called to speak, goes on the stage and gives a message power-packed by the Holy Spirit. And if you are looking for a church home, I would highly recommend being a part of it. Information is below to do that. But not only do they do the Sunday services,
we also have Man 2.0, which a community of brothers who've been coming together for the last 3 years, working to understand how we are designed by God, built by God for a purpose. It's a community, a safe community where we can just be real with each other, support each other, and it's a tightly knit group of brothers. And look, the door is always open for more to come out. That happens the second Saturday every month, 10 a.m. to 12. And if there's some ladies watching, the first Saturday of the month, you have Lift, Living in Freedom and Truth, that actually meets here 10 to 12:30, the first Saturday every month. That's 28202 Franklin Road. Hey, you can find a place, whether it be in a Sunday service, which we'd love to have you, in Lift or Man 2.0, where you would definitely get fed. If you come to all three, wow, you done got fed 3 times, and you're gonna walk out like with a smile on your face. So join us.
It's a good investment of time. I'll say that for sure.
Way to tie it in.
Thank y'all for tuning in. Go ahead and subscribe if you didn't do that the first time I mentioned it. Gosh dang it. But we'll see y'all next week.
Peace.